don't get out of a toxic relationship. Many a times husbands come to me and they tell me that I am living in a toxic relationship. What should I do? And my simple answer is don't get out of it. Now, there are so many videos on the net which talk about why do you have to get out of a toxic relationship, 7 signs of a toxic relationship. All these lot of videos which tell people that the best thing to do when you are in a toxic relationship is to get out of it. But I believe that it is totally wrong. I want you to watch this video with an open mind to understand why am I saying what I'm saying. Continue to watch this video. Hi, Coach Val here. I help men to create the marriage of their dreams. In today's video, I'm going to talk about, I've divided the whole video into these segments. The first part, I'm going to talk about what is a toxic relationship that everybody talks about. The second thing is myths and truth about the toxic relationship and the tips if you're into a toxic relationship. So let us begin with what? What is a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is where I feel I'm not getting support from the other person. The person is making use of me. I'm compromising too much. I'm giving in too much. There is my spouse is a narcissist. She's selfish. She doesn't want to even think about me. Now that's a toxic relationship. And when people watch the videos, it looks very simple that if my spouse is doing all these things, then I must be in a wrong relationship. So I need to get out of this relationship, get into a new one, and things will be better. But don't do that until you watch this video till the end. So what is the myth about a toxic relationship? The first myth that I want to cover at this moment is the myth is toxic relationship is created by one person. So when I look at my spouse and she's being narcissist, or she's only self-centered, or she's being aggressive, and she's hitting the kid, and there is no peace in the house, I tend to think that it is created by one person, which is not at all true. The second myth that we buy into is that this toxic relationship started after marriage because the person at the initial phase of the marriage, this narcissist, this toxic person was not toxic because he was putting up a show of a nice person. And then once he realized that there is a commitment, he said to himself, okay, everything is over. Now let me be toxic from now on. Now these are the two myths. Let me burst them for you. I want you to listen to them with an open mind. Because the tragedy of our lives, or the tragedy of your life, is you making the same mistakes and again thinking that the other person is wrong. You're going to suffer, and I don't want you to suffer in your life. And relationship is one of the biggest contributor of suffering when you don't know how to handle it, especially an intimate relationship. The other ones, you can ignore them. The relationships at the workplace, you can ignore them. But when it comes to an intimate relationship, you got to know a lot of things. So what is the truth? The truth is this. In your relationship, the relationship is toxic, not the person. Let me repeat that. In your relationship, the relationship is toxic and not the person. So let me explain what I mean by your relationship is toxic. It means that all of us have two sides. There's one side that is beautiful, wonderful, loving, caring, understanding, supportive, all that. And the other side is not so good, negative. Now, what makes the positive side to come out? Because right now you're seeing the negative side of your spouse. So what makes the positive side to come out is feeling loved and stress-free. So whenever we are feeling loved and stress-free, in that environment, the positive side comes out. And that's the reason your wife would be fighting with you tooth and nail. And after that, there's a phone call that she gets. And she's talking to one of her friends, and she talks to that person so beautifully. And you wonder, like, how did she change? all of a sudden. The reason why she changed is because in this particular relationship, in this environment, she's not feeling stress-free or loved. She's feeling utterly stressed out and feeling unloved. And that's why the relationship is toxic. That's why she's behaving the way she's behaving, because that relationship is toxic. And a relationship is always created by two people. So if that relationship is toxic, then you have an equal amount of contribution towards it. So don't run away from realizing that contribution that you're making to that relationship to become toxic. The second truth is that before commitment, the myth, let's look at the myth. Before commitment, he was putting up a show. The truth is not that. The truth is relationships go through 3 stages. I'm talking about marriage. The first stage of the marriage is romance stage, where everything is fine, everything is beautiful, everything is amazing. And this romance stage is driven by hormones, because nature wants us to get married. So when we are connecting with the other person, the hormones, the happy chemicals get produced in our brain. And because we feel happy and we feel stressed out, remember what I said earlier, when people feel stressed out and feeling unloved, they behave in a toxic way. All right, both of us behave. It's not only one person. The same way, when we were in a romance stage, we were not feeling stressed out. We were feeling stress-free. We were feeling loved, because our brain was producing these happy chemicals. And then according to that, we were responding in a positive way. And as a response to that, as a reaction to that, a spouse was responding in a positive way, and there was a positive loop. But no matter who we get married, no matter how many times we get married, this is the truth nobody tells us. People talk about toxic relationship, but nobody tells us the truth that no matter who we get married, that romance stage has to end. And we get into something called the power struggle stage. And in the power struggle stage, you start fighting, you start arguing, you start feeling unloved. And that's what creates a toxic relationship. It's not the other person. The biggest mistake you can make is get out of this so-called toxic relationship, get married to one more person, and then within a year or two, you realize that it's the same. You're back to square one. You get out of that relationship once again, and you get into a third relationship. There are so many people who are doing this right at this very moment, thinking that they're in a toxic relationship. The truth is, yes, they are in a toxic relationship, but not realizing that toxic relationship is created, they have an equal share to in this creating this toxic relationship. So the second thing is the 3 stages. And if you learn relationship science, and that's what I'm going to talk about in the next part, either you are lucky, you just get it, because there are some couples who just get it, and that's why they are together for years and years and years, and they have an amazing marriage. Or you learn relationship science. If you don't want to take a risk of just getting it, then you learn relationship science, about which I'm going to talk about later. By learning relationship science and implementing it, you can take your marriage from power struggle to mature love stage. And when you take your marriage from power struggle to mature love stage, because every action has equal and opposite reaction, your spouse also will move into mature love stage. And when you move to mature love stage, the same person was narcissist, the same person was aggressive, the same person was self-centered, will be totally different, because people behave based on where they are. When they are in power struggle stage, they behave in this manner because they're feeling stressed out and feeling unloved. When they move to mature love stage, they behave in a positive manner. That's exactly is happening to so many of our men at this moment. They've not got out of a relationship because it was toxic. It was toxic, but they didn't get out of it. They learned relationship science and they took the marriage to mature love stage. And the same person who never said sorry to them for the last 10 years of their marriage is saying sorry to them, because people behave based on where they are. So I hope that part is clear. Now let us move into the next part, that is the tips. So what are the tips? There are 3 tips. The first tip is, just because your relationship is toxic, don't rush to get out of it. If you are in a rush to get out of it and you get out of this toxic relationship, there is no guarantee that the next relationship will not be toxic. Initially, it will not be, because it's romance stage, but it is going to be toxic. So don't rush into getting out of the relationship. All right. Even though it is difficult, I totally get it. It is difficult. Probably aggression is there. Probably fights are there. Arguments are there. But don't rush into getting out of it. The second thing is analyze. Analyze. When I say analyze, there are three ways you can look at the same situation. The first way is this way. I'm looking at it from my perspective, and when I look at it from my perspective, it appears that the relationship is toxic, created by my spouse. The second way is this way. I'm looking at the situation from my spouse's perspective, and when I look at it from that perspective, probably and most probably I'll realize that this toxic relationship is created by me. I have the equal share to play in this. Second way. The third way is I look at it from above, where I can see me, I can see my spouse, and I can see my relationship in a holistic manner. So the second thing is to analyze, and the last thing is learning relationship science. I spoke enough about it, so I'm not going to repeat, except I'm going to share a concept with you. The way I want you to understand your marriage or understand these behaviors, toxic relationship, or the other person being narcissist, any of these behaviors in this manner. Our personality, every one of us have our own personality type, and based on our personality type, we behave in unique ways. So when I'm happy, I'll not behave the way my wife does. My wife will not behave the way she does when she is stressed out, the way I do. So we behave in unique ways. But the thing that takes us up or down, so the up part, when you go up the building, that's the analogy that I use. When you go up the building, based on our personality type, we behave in a positive way. All right, like the way we behaved at the initial stage of our marriage. So when I'm on top of the building, I'm imaginative, creative, enthusiastic, curious, and all these positive qualities. And when my wife is on top of the building, this is based on my wife's personality type. Those of you who want to learn this, I want you to get into the program. If you're part of the program, then you got to move to Loveathon, where you're going to learn this. So here, if you look at it, my spouse is a type 8, and look at it, the qualities. She's direct, highly energetic, overcoming obstacles. She is protective of others. These are the positive qualities. But when we get into a power struggle stage, when we are feeling stressed out and feeling unloved, we go down the building and look at the behaviors. The behaviors that I demonstrate when I go down the building, when I feel stressed out and feeling unloved, is I become impulsive. I become unfocused. I become rebellious. I can get into addiction very easily. Inconsistent. I don't want to talk to. I don't talk to the other person. I don't want to listen to the pain of the other person. And I can look like very negative human being. And if I look at my wife, look at the things. She will become controlling, demanding, impatient, agitated with a slow pace, disdains weakness. She can avoid conflict. Looks like she's a very negative person. But the thing that you got to focus on is the loop. The loop. Because from my side, I can't see my mistakes. How I'm at the bottom of the building. So relationships helps me to understand the loop. And it also helps me to understand that the reason why the person is behaving the way she is doing is because she's stressed out and feeling unloved. And this is the power of learning relationship science, so that you can see the other perspective. And if you're interested in attending one of my master classes where I teach about relationship science, then I invite you to go to coachval.co, that is COACHVAL, coachval.co, and sign up for the master class. So that's all for this video. In order to sum up, let me quickly sum up the whole thing that I've said, and then I'll ask you to go to the comment section and write your notes, your learnings. Just to sum up all that I said, let me come up here and let me sum up. I spoke about I spoke about what is the toxic relationship. Then I spoke about the myth and the truth. And in the myth, I said that the myth is that it's created by one person. That is a myth. And the second thing is, before commitment, the person was acting. That is also a myth. Then I spoke about the truth. Truth is relationship is toxic, not the person. The second thing is the relationship goes through three stages, and in the first stage, the relationship is not toxic, and that's why the person is also not toxic. And then I spoke about tips. The first tip is don't rush. The second tip is analyze, and the third tip is learn relationship science. So if you have liked this video so far, and you got some nuggets for something to think about, then just give a like button. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead, subscribe to this channel and press that bell icon so that every time I put up a video, you get the notification first. And before you leave, go to the comment section and write your comments. If you're part of the Awesome Husbands Hub, then hashtag AHHub and write your comment. And if you're not part of the Awesome Husbands Hub, just write your comment. I would love to read it. I'm going to reply to it. And also, if you have any questions on what I've shared here, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. So if there is somebody, and finally, if there is somebody that you think will benefit from watching this video, some friend of yours, some colleague, probably your brother or uncle or anybody, please share this video with that person. You're not only going to save one person from making mistakes, you're going to save a whole generation. So that's all for this video, gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching it. I'll see you in the next video. Until we connect again, as always, keep your love story alive. Bye-bye.